The rumors are true. We're ranking every book I've read so far this year. Now listen, I'm not a typical booktuber, so we actually only have 14 books to go through, technically 13 because one of them I did not finish. I just like to do other things with my day. I work full-time, I dance, and so I do read when I feel like it. I read for enjoyment. That being said, the type of books I read are, I mostly go for romances, I'm not gonna lie. If you hate the romance genre, you hate me and you hate women. Okay, no. But, like, I do think there's something to be said about this whole discourse around romance books, around like, oh, are they appropriate for teenagers or like young adults? No, that's why they're in the adult section. They're not in the young adult section. These romances that are spicy and have all these sex scenes, they're in the adult section. And then it's like, okay, well, they have cartoons on the front, they must be for kids. I really, as somebody who loves animation as an adult, I don't understand the sentiment. But if you want to take it there, maybe you could look at the book that your child is purchasing, checking out from the library, what have you. At some point, you have to accept responsibility for that. It's not on me or the author to like make sure that your kid is reading age-appropriate stuff. This is getting way out of line for what we're here to do. So with that being said, let's go ahead and start ranking these books. And I will be going in the order that I read the books. So the list is gonna feel a little crazy, but I'll make sure that we keep a tally on one side of me. That way we can all rank these books and you can tell me if you disagree or not in the comments. Okay, actually I wanted to wear my hair to the front because it looks cute, but it gets on my nerves real fast. So yes, I do have a neck. Okay, I started off the year hot. I started with the 50 Shades of Grey trilogy. I checked out a book that had like all three in one, and this was again the first book of the year, first 3 books of the year. So I don't 100% remember all the details and all of that, but I remember how I felt, and I got my notes. See, yeah, she's prepared. So 50 Shades of Grey, the very first one, I rated that one 4 stars. I know for a fact that I took off one of the stars because the sex scenes were so hard to get through. Like, these were so, I feel like a peeping Tom, and I didn't even want to be watching, but I had to watch / read because they would go through like really important stuff when they were like in the bedroom or, you know, doing whatever they were doing. And so I had to read every line, every word, every murmur, every mutter, every lip bite. You know, I absolutely hated that. But I must say, the thing that kept me reading was the plot. I love a billionaire romance. This book is what made me realize that billionaire romance was its own like subgenre. So if y'all know any books where the man is super rich and he gets a girlfriend and he's just like spending it all on her, giving it all to her, and she accepts without giving too much of a hassle. Because I really don't like how much Anastasia was like, nah, I don't need that. I'm simple. I can't. Girl, he just gave you a car. You're driving a hoopty. Your car is 2 miles away from falling apart, and you are going to reject the gift of a brand new like Audi. Like, are you nuts? Love a book like that. So if you have suggestions for books like that, please leave them in the comments. Even if she is like a little pushy about it, I'll still read it because it just warms my heart to see a woman get treated properly. Ooh, I'm gonna eat it up every time. Okay, so love that aspect of the book. And so overall, we're gonna rank this as number 8 of all the books I've read so far this year. Okay, so next up was 50 Shades Darker, naturally. Now, 50 Shades Darker, I absolutely love the plot of this one. Like, it kept me on my toes. This was an action movie to me. I mean, I was just like, what is gonna happen next? What's going on? Who's kidnapped? Where are they? Who's getting stalked? It was... I absolutely loved this book. And of course, you still have the billionaire situation going on. You do, of course, still have the sex scenes. But I was able to kind of like tap through those more. Like, I didn't have to read it so much because not as much happened during them. And the reason why I kept reading after I read okay, let me just say, y'all, I rated this one 4 stars, and on this list I'm putting it at number 6. That's how much I enjoyed like the plot line and all that. I will say I did think the series was going to end at the end of this book. And the only reason why I went ahead and finished the series was because you find out why Christian is the way that he is. That's the main male character's name. You find out why Christian is the way that he is, and there's no way you can't see the follow-up of that. I was just like, this man is insane. I need to know what happens next. And so I read the next book. The last book of the installment is called 50 Shades Freed, and 50 Shades Freed honestly feels like a cash grab. Like, I don't think we needed that whole story. I think it could have just been an epilogue, but it is what it is. I read the book. It was still entertaining. It was still extremely entertaining. Like, they kept up the same energy as the second book, but it still felt like a cash grab. Again, sex scenes, I'm flying through them because nothing's happening in them by the third book, so you can save yourself that. I rated this book overall, I gave it a, let's see, I rated this book a 5. I do not know why. On my Goodreads, I rated it a 5. It was what I was feeling. I didn't write a review, so I just got to trespass me on that. But I don't know. I'm not feeling the same way about it right now. So on my overall list, we're going to go ahead and rank that a 9. Alright, so the next book series that I ended up reading was the Twilight series, because obviously if I read 50 Shades of Grey, I had to go ahead and read what inspired the book. If you didn't know, 50 Shades of Grey is a fan fiction based on Edward and Bella. Yes, Christian is Edward and Anastasia is Bella. Next caller, all right? But I went ahead and read Twilight, and yes, I am young enough or old enough, depending on who you are, to where I was there when Twilight was rolling out before all 4 books were published. But I was very focused on Harry Potter, and I did read the first Twilight, but I wasn't hooked. I didn't get it. I was like, I'm not vibing with this, and so I never read it. So yes, I went ahead and read the full series. So the first book was a reread for me. Bella annoys me so much, but when I kept reminding myself that she was a teenager, I was like, okay, well, this is very teenage energy, like teenage love, like teenage, my first boyfriend, I love him, I'm gonna be with him forever, literally, in this girl's case. She annoyed me, but like the writing, the composition, the storyline was good, so I gave it 4 stars. See, I'm a little objective when I rate a book, but on this list, we're gonna put her at number 10 because, again, I was annoyed half the time. Edward has some sense. Bella didn't. Not sure why he chose Bella of all people. Okay, so now let's get into it. New Moon. Hello. If that was the first book of the series, I probably would have been way more interested. I love Jacob Black. Love, love, love. If I was reading these when they were coming out, I would have been Team Jacob. He was there when no one was. I really am not sure why when Edward comes back, she just feels like she can just drop Jacob and just leave him high and dry. Like, Edward didn't leave her. Like, that was... Jacob deserves better. Team Jacob. And in general, I just think that Jacob and Bella were a more interesting couple than Bella and Edward. I think the Cullens are just too, like, easy breezy, we want to stay in the shadows type of deal. I mean, I know they literally have to, but I just, no. So, anyways, yes, I rated this book a 4. Yes, I gave this book 4 stars on Goodreads, but I ranked it as number 7. Now, Eclipse, New Moon and Eclipse, they really, they are good. I do wish that Eclipse focused on the romance more. I feel like, well, I wish it focused on Bella and Jacob. I don't like the whole yearning for Edward situation. Again, I don't think that Edward is the best choice for Bella. I think that Jacob is the best option. Her dad was right. Also, if she was with Jacob, she wouldn't be getting hunted down by vampires, and that's just a fact. And that's why Edward should have stayed away. Eclipse was so good. She had them boys sleeping in a tent together. She was sitting across from Edward, her man. She was sitting across from him, and she was just wrapped up in Jacob's arms. That is nuts, though. Oh my gosh. And Edward could read his mind. Look, it was very drama-filled. I wish it focused more on romance, and I wish it focused more on drama, because my gosh, I know what you may be thinking, like, this is a teen romance drama. It wasn't enough for me, okay? It wasn't as drama filled as the other books that are on this list, okay? But I did love it. I rated this book a 5 stars. I truly loved it. Again, still believe that she should have chosen Jacob. He deserves more. And on this list, I'm ranking it number 5. So Eclipse did make my top 5. And then lastly, Breaking Dawn. I don't want to talk about this too long. This whole book, I was anticipating a fight. Nary a fang was shown. A punch was not thrown. Nobody even got pushed. They just had a conversation. They were civil about it in the end. I don't like that. Also, the pregnancy situation. What was that about? Why? Don't love that. The imprinting, though, is the one thing I can agree with Bella. Wow, she's a baby. You are in love with her, but it's like, oh, it's friendly love. I don't know. That felt like a scapegoat to me. But again, Jacob chose the baby because he couldn't choose Bella. So I got beef with this book in so many ways, but mostly because it's thick. I read so many pages just for nobody to fight. This whole time I'm watching y'all prepare to fight, no fight happens. For that reason, I rated the book as a 2-star. Yes, I rated the book as a 2-star, and I'm putting it as number 12 on the list right now. Don't ever waste my time like that again. All right, we're done with the nostalgia of it all, so now let's move into like the newer books that I've been reading. The first one I want to talk about, and the one that I read directly after Twilight, was called By the Book. This is a book by Jasmine Guillory. I've read some of her books before and loved them. This one did not make the mark. This is the book that I did not finish. Like, I was literally like fighting my way through this book. I got my hair braided and tried to read this book. I sat there for 6 hours and could not stay focused on this book for many reasons, but it was just so boring. We're 70% through the book and they haven't even hugged. What are we doing here? I'm not saying they gotta be doing the pants off, dance off every chapter, but my gosh, a hug, a kiss, a brush, you know, oh, they walked past each other in the hallway. None of that. I mean, they must have had 6 feet of space between them the whole time. It was, no. And it's like a reimagining of Beauty and the Beast. The main character, male lead, is so mean to the female. I didn't like this book. It was boring. Again, I got 70% of the way through, maybe almost 80. I still haven't finished this book, and I don't know if I will. I didn't rate this book because I didn't finish it. If I had to rate it, I would give it a 2 out of 3, honestly. Sorry about that. If I had to rate it, I'd give it a 2 out of 3, but as far as this list goes, it's all the way at the bottom. It is number 14. My least favorite book I've read so far this year. All right, now I did read the TikTok famous Icebreaker after By the Book, and thank God I did, because I needed something. I needed to feel something. This book is so fun to read. It has a good storyline. It's about college kids. It's about college kids, so you know you get a little bit of nostalgia there, or maybe some hopeful feelings. If you're not in college yet, you're on your way. It is a good time to take you back and, like, you know, just enjoy a read. It's not too hard to read. It's like watching TV. It is like watching TV, and that's why I enjoyed it. Again, I read for enjoyment. I read for fun. I read to escape reality, and I didn't really have to think when I read this. It was just like, oh yeah, she's wearing her little outfit. Oh no, this happened. What are they gonna do? Type of deal. It was very fun to read. Now, this book has to be the one that started the cartoon cover discourse, because my gosh, I could easily see how a teenager would pick this up and read this, assuming it's a book for their age group, because again, the characters are in college, and you can kind of tell that from the cartoon cover on the front. No, if I was a parent, I would not be letting my teenager read this, mostly because these people are not sleeping together. They're not doing a pants off, dance off. They are straight up fucking. Like, that's the only way to describe what these people are doing. And it is happening quite often. and it's detailed, okay? All right? Some of y'all, the girls are taking notes. That is nuts. So, Icebreaker was crazy, but again, I did enjoy the book overall. I love the plot. I wouldn't even call it spicy. I think we need to stop using the word spicy, because at some point it's like, whoa, this is just past spicy. But yes, Icebreaker, 100% recommend. The girl is getting treated good, and y'all know I love that. We got a man coming to help her out in a time of need. Yes, okay, Icebreaker, yes, absolutely. And the epilogue is a real epilogue. It's not like a couple days later, so I really enjoyed that. So obviously, with the amount of time that I've been talking about and how much praise I'm giving it, I ranked this book a 5, or I rated this book a 5, and I'm putting this one at the number 1 spot. This is the most fun I've had reading in a long time. Like, again, it's just so simple, fun, light, bubbly, airy. Exactly what I like. The book that I read after Icebreaker, I gave Jasmine Guillory another shot with Party of Two. This book, the characters are older, and I really like that. You don't find a lot of books that the characters are like over 25, I feel like, or like in their 30s, and it's like a happy, light, airy book. And so I really appreciated that, but they were just boring characters to me. Like, the main character is a politician and a lawyer. They both take their jobs really seriously. They like to have fun sometimes, but it's just work, work, work all the time. I didn't like that. They're both like, oh, I'm at work, I'm busy. Oh, do you want to come with me to the work thing? It's always work with these two. If you like a book with a little bit of spice, right? Like, it's romantic, but they're not doing the pants off, dance off every other chapter. I think maybe it happened like 2 or 3 times throughout the entire book. Yeah, it felt flat for me. And I feel like we really didn't get to see like the romance itself develop. It was more, how are they gonna work around each other's schedules? Didn't love it for that reason. I rated it a 3, I think. Let me check. Yeah, I rated it as a 3, and I ranked it as number 11 on this list. But I will say, like, give it a try. See if you like it, because it might be right up your alley if you love a less explicit romance. All right, so after Party of Two, I jumped into another TikTok famous book by Miss Emily Henry. I read Happy Place. Y'all lied. This is why I don't normally get into popular things, because y'all boost it up so much. Now, let me say this. The writing's great, and it is a good story. It is not what I was looking for, and to me, it should not be categorized as a romance. No. Are the characters romantically involved? Yes. But there was not much romanticity in this book. I didn't like that. So I thought it was going to be a second chance romance. The cover's pink. Everybody on the cover is like jumping into a lake or a pool. I thought we were going to have a good time. Remember I said light, bubbly, fun? This is heavy, dark, and concerning. It makes you think. Not trying to do all that. It really brought me into reality, making me think about if the characters are real people, and should they be together? Does this make sense? And he's in a different place in his life than she is. And no. Like, and I think there's a way to do that and it still be fun. My hairline is itching so bad. I think there's a way to do that and it still is fun. This book was not fun. If you want to get like an introspective love story, this is the one. But no, was not vibing with this book at all. So I rated it a 3 on Goodreads, and it's getting to not congested. Hold on. I rated it a 3 on Goodreads, and it's getting to 13 spot here. I'm sorry, but no. If you love a romance, if you're trying to have fun, Happy Place is not the book. All right, the next book that I read was Wildfire. It's the follow-up to Icebreaker. It follows 2 of the characters that were in Icebreaker. They were the friends of the main characters in Icebreaker, and now they are the main characters of this book, and they work at a summer camp for rich kids. This book was very fun. I was gonna say interesting. It's not really that interesting, but it is fun. It's great to read. It is less explicit than Ice. Nah, not true. It's not less explicit in that like the sex scenes are more toned down. It is not as early and not as often. All right, they get you through the plot, they get you through the story, they do a lot of build up before it starts to happen, and I really appreciate that because I do read books just to be entertained. I'm not gonna lie. We don't really have to detail every second of what happens in the bedroom. We don't have to do that. I don't need that. But if it's there, it better not feel like I'm a peeping Tom. You know what I'm saying? So, yes, Wildfire, fun, good to read. Still not for kids. I wouldn't want my kids to be reading this, but it's a fun read, doesn't cause you to think too much. And I really like these characters. These characters, though, they did have a little bit more issues than the character in the first book. They had a little bit more issues. They were a bit more introspective, but it wasn't like Happy Place where it was bringing me down and taking me back to reality. It just felt like, okay, how are we gonna solve this? This shows that you have emotions and you might be kind of complex and not all what people think you are. All right, so now we're at the books that I've read the most recently. After Wildfire, I picked up a book by Tessa Bailey. Now, I don't know if this is TikTok famous because I'm not on booktok, so it has to be a super popular book to break through my TikTok algorithm. But every time I went into Barnes & Noble or Half Price Books, I saw this lady's name and her books sitting on a table right up front. I guess the girls are looking for her. And I was like, let's figure out why. So I read It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey. This is a really fun story. Imagine if Paris Hilton got all her money taken away and sent to some podunk town, a la The Simple Life, and the only way she could get her money back was by like proving that she understands the value of a dollar. That's kind of what this story is, and the romance is like a grumpy sunshine. The man was a little bit too grumpy in the beginning, I won't lie. I almost wanted to have him dealt with, but he turned out to be a really nice guy. He's got his own stuff that he's dealing with and working through, but they get through it really fast and the romance begins, and I love that. Let's work through whatever the problem is and let's have the romance. This is another one of those books where that man is spoiling her. He is not a billionaire, but he is a very rich man. There's a line in the book that I won't repeat here, but when you get to it, you'll be like, I want to be spoiled like that one day. Yes, he loves taking care of this girl. And I won't say that she loves getting taken care of, but she lets him take care of her, and I really like that. Like, she's on this journey to like do stuff for herself and kind of find herself, and she's older too. She's like 27, and I appreciate that because again, we rarely get book characters that are over like 25 in a book that's light, airy, and fun. So I really like this book for that reason. I gave it 5 stars, and it is getting the, let me make sure, drum roll please. I really like this book. Oh, wait a minute. I rated it 4 stars, actually, and it's getting the number 2 spot on the list. All right, now this last, hold on, because I don't know, crisscross applesauce is taking me out right now. The last book I have to talk about is Hook, Line, and Sinker. It's the follow-up to It Happened One Summer. I'll say it's nice to read these books in order, but you really don't have to. Like, you will only be missing a minimal amount of context. But you should read them in order. They're both really good, but like, you just don't have to. That being said, I did like Hook, Line, and Sinker a lot more, but I think it's because we didn't have to do all that setup at the beginning. Like, character introduction and, you know, this is why she is the way that she is, he is the way that he, like, we really just got straight into it. We dove deeper on some topics that I was worrying about from the first book. We dove deeper on some topics that I was wondering about from the first book, so that was nice. And we just got deeper into these 2 characters that I was kind of wanting to know more about from the first book. So that was nice. It didn't take a lot of time, and the romance felt more realistic in this book. And while the main character, male, did have a little bit of an issue that I think he should have grown out of. It was entertaining to watch him work through it while trying to develop a relationship, and interesting to see how the girl handled it. She was a little bit too locked into me. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I think I would have left him, but there's some point in the book where she's like, no, you think about this, because the next time you tell me to leave, I'm gonna leave for real. And I'm like, and you better stand on that, because I feel like he's gonna try to leave again. But it was a fun book, a fun read. Again, you know what? This is the least spicy. No, okay, it's not the it doesn't have the least amount of sex scenes, but it has the least amount of like sex talk. I don't know. I really liked the way that this book was written as far as the bedroom scenes go, because you can really just still enjoy the book without feeling weird and without getting expletives thrown in your ear for 10 minutes straight at a time. Again, I do a lot of audiobooks, about half and half audio and like Kindle. This was way less physically intense than Hook, Line, and It Happened One Summer. I forgot to mention that. It Happened One Summer, they are getting it on. He is not shy about letting this girl know that he wants her immediately, now. In this book, they really try to take it slow. It's a slow burn. It is a slow burn, okay? So, this book, I gave it 5 stars. I guess that's why. I did write a review, but I can't, I'm not that girl from last week. 5 stars for Hook, Line, and Sinker, and this is taking the last spot on the list, which I believe is spot number 3. So yeah, top 5: Icebreaker, It Happened One Summer, Hook, Line, and Sinker, Wildfire, and Eclipse. They're all pretty strong romances, and Eclipse just has a little drama. So yeah, that is a lot. We've been through a lot in this last however long this video is. I hope y'all enjoyed. I hope y'all feel like y'all know me a little bit more through my book picks. Let me know if you agree, disagree. If you want to fight about it, let's do it in the comments. Let me know if you have any recs, specifically those billionaire romance reads or rich boyfriend to husband pipeline reads. And I will see y'all in the next one. Bye.